Well, it's been a while since I've done one of these. I suppose I call them Yap sessions. They can be really called anything. It doesn't really matter. But yes, a preamble. We've covered Dark Matter's videos before on this channel, or at least taken a look at them. I think this is the third one. I think this is the third one. I really like a lot of his videos where he does his philosophical talks. I find them very, very interesting. I saw this video in particular. I think he was on hiatus for a couple months because he was relatively active on social media. He decided to go off of social media for a little while, and now he's back with a video titled, simply put, "They Lied to You." And I was curious about engaging with this video initially, because I saw the thumbnail of it. And the thumbnail of it, if I can just take a look at it again, so I can jog my memory, of course, was the great MAGA lie. With his face there in front of the microphone. Very, very stoically, I suppose. I'm not sure what the best word to say this. And the thing is obviously I agree with that, right? It was an obvious sort of they lied to you, the Republican politicians and whatnot. I think he had a different thumbnail before it changed, and that's what got me interested in to begin with, because I thought of it as oh yeah, I overall I am interested in engaging with this because I didn't agree with the premise, but I wanted to see where it would take it. Where he was taught, seemingly it was an acknowledgement of saying that Trump and the Republican Party are knowing liars. But here's the thing. For a lot of Trump supporters, a lot of them did support Trump because Trump promised affordability, to take care of inflation, to take care of a bunch of different issues, blah, 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 right? It was an obvious lie, right? Everyone said that it's an obvious lie. He's not going to do that based off his first administration. Of course, the cult didn't really listen to that, blah, blah, blah. They still voted for him anyways. But also, it's kind of an idea of that a lot of these MAGA supporters, especially a lot of the pundits and those in sort of upper class management, let's say, because I'm mostly going to bring a lot of class analysis, I think, in this in particular, because I do admit I like Dark Matter. He is a bit of a liberal, however, right? I prefer to do the more sort of socialist critique of the current political paradigm that we find ourselves under. Because let's be quite honest here. The Democrats were offering absolutely nothing at all in terms of policy, in terms of effective positions, in terms of campaigning. Kamala Harris was essentially just a suit with a mouth, and that's really about it. She just said a couple of things and provided that was nothing of any sort of concrete, tangible worth. Before of course, after the DNC, I'm mostly speaking here. Before the DNC, she was talking about pricing grocery stores, putting in price caps for grocery store products. And I'm just that's a great policy. Very, very good. I think that's fantastic. Certainly will help with the affordability crisis that's currently going on within the United States of America. And then after the DNC, not a peep. Nothing about that policy. Nothing at all whatsoever. And it's just what the shit? Where did this go? And obviously, we all know what happened from there. The weird attack stopped. She decided not to talk at all about Israel-Palestine, all because of the Biden staffers going into the campaign and, for lack of a better term, infecting it with... Yeah, I'm going to say infecting it with their just pro-corporate, liberal, sort of nothing burger sort of politics, I guess, for lack of a better term. They essentially killed off any momentum that campaign had. And people were feeling hopeful and joyful as to the possible results of a Kamala Harris presidency, saying thank God like a change in the energy. Finally, a shift is happening. And it's all because of Joe Biden's ego. We've talked about this before, but the reason why Kamala Harris was essentially forced into this position was because of Joe Biden. Joe Biden, in his ego, because he thought he was him after not really, I'm not going to say staving off the 2024 midterm elections, where he was, well, mainstream news was saying that he was slated to lose a lot during that sort of midterm election. And in fact, nothing really happened at all. But it's not because of anything the Democrats did. Like, the Republicans did retake the House, and the Democrats lost the House. The Senate was still maintained by the Democrats, I believe. The tie was still there. And nothing really much changed all that much in terms of the sort of like makeup of Congress or anything. It was just mostly they lost the House by only like a couple of House members, if I'm recalling correctly. And the reason for that is not because of anything the Democrats did in particular in terms of how they campaigned or any of the policies that Joe Biden did. No. That was because the Republicans just incorporated the worst possible strategy during that midterm. And that was just having like a sort of schizophrenic focus and conniption just with trans people. Keep in mind, this was before the whole Dylan Mulvaney transgate fucking bullshit, where I guess that like kind of landed. Not really. Like, all that really did accomplish transgate is just force trans people back into the fucking closet. It didn't really accomplish much of anything for the Republican Party, because if you take a look at what issues poll the best amongst people, and what the issues they're talking about, generally speaking, trans people consistently ranked like in the bottom percentile of all the issues. Out of like 23 issues, it was like constantly like 22nd or 20th or some shit. Like, very, very low priority issue in terms of like I don't know, wanting to, no, in general, even amongst the Republican Party, nobody gave a shit about that, right? I don't think for Republicans, even Boy Meets Me, I think this was in general. Yes, because even the Republicans, like the constituency of the Republican Party, was complaining about the affordability problems as well. Nobody gave a shit at all about trans people. Like, it didn't matter, because the Republican Party didn't like quite manufacture consent in terms of hatred of fucking trans people, in terms of that being the main sort of scapegoat. Not really much yet. And then the Dylan Mulvaney stuff happened, and that's when that really ratcheted up to 11. So that's why they lost those fucking midterms. It got to Joe Biden's ego. He thought he was him, so then he decided to stay in the race and keep running. Obvious fucking mistake. Nancy Pelosi had to be like, leave or we're going to lose. They lost anyways, because of Joe Biden being a spiteful little prick, saying like, you know what, fuck you. If you don't want me, then I'm going to just stick Kamala Harris in this position instead. And Kamala Harris was like, okay, I guess I'm in this situation now. Great, cool, thanks. And then the election season played out in the way that it played out. So that's the sort of general reasoning for as to how we got into the position in 2024. A lot of it was because of Joe Biden. Part of it was because of the Democrats not addressing Israel-Palestine. Part of it was because the Democrats were doing not much of anything. And a lot of it was because, at the very least, even though they're lying, and this is a consistent pattern of behavior with the Republican Party, they lie all the time. They lie about as much as they breathe. They at least offered some form of vision for the future. They put something on offer. Whereas the Democrats talked about what they were only against and never what they were for. At this point in politics, people want to know what you are for, not what you are against. So you could talk about how Trump is bad, Trump is bad, Trump is bad. That's effective. Yeah, sure. Like, people are going to be like, yeah, we get it. Trump is bad. What are you going to do once you get into office? Because it was sort of like the sort of idea and conception during that campaign was that Joe Biden was mostly like a good for nothing, like do nothing fucking Democrat. And the only reason why that stuck was because of just how ineffective the Democratic Party was at saying, like, no, this is actually what we did. We did actually a lot of good stuff. Here's what we did. And the Democrats, for whatever reason, didn't really talk about any of the stuff that they did. It's just like, okay, thanks, Democrats, for seemingly barely fucking talking about any of this shit when you're the current party in power, and the argument of the Republicans saying that you're a bunch of do-nothings is going to land because you're not talking about the things you did. Because Joe Biden did do things. He did stuff. You know, passing stuff like the IRA, being the Inflation Reduction Act, parts of Build Back Better. Of course, in a more decrepit sort of state because of Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin, and Joe Biden being too much of a fucking coward in order to just tell them off, and using the bully pulpit to say, like, well, fuck you, I'm the president, I can just do whatever I want. You guys can go fuck yourselves. Like, fuck you. And he would have been popular if he did that, because nobody likes Kyrsten Sinema or Joe fucking Manchin, who are just stooges to, corporate fucking capital. But yeah, I'm going off on a little bit of a ramble here, because I do think that these are a lot of important things to have as sort of a setup here, because I don't, like, it's part of it, a lot of it is because, yes, the Republican Party has always lied to you, right? And a lot of these people don't actually really care all that much because it's a religious fanatical cult. Something that I know that Dark Matter talks about consistently on his channel, being a staunch atheist. He does not like religiosity all that much. And I mean, you know, classic like Reddit sort of anti-theist. I don't mean that as a disparaging comment. It's just subjective fact. Yeah, he's like one of the like not dog shit Reddit atheists who went down the path of like similar to that of like Sam Harris and stuff like that, right? Who are still Reddit IDW like Reddit atheist types who are now like Islamophobic fucking freaks. I'm still like rambling here a little bit. But yeah, I was mostly curious to just see what Dark Matter was going to lay out here in terms of him saying that they lied to you. Why don't we take a look?
I don't feel safe posting this video. In case you didn't watch my last video, I announced that I had to leave for around 2 months to help some family on the other side of the country. And in that video, I said that when I return, it will be a totally different world because things move so fast nowadays. And I was right. One of the major differences between now and then is that I no longer feel safe posting videos like this one. And that's the whole point. The point of our current political landscape is for people like myself to feel threatened, to not feel safe speaking out. And that has a silencing effect. Except I'm a little bit stubborn, so I'm still going to speak out while I can. This is the main question I want to ask you. How does...
because here's the thing. This is a perfectly, like, reasonable position, obviously, because, quick example, Kat Ebugazela, who is a politician now, running for Illinois' 9th district, replacing the Democrat who's retiring. I don't remember her name. Overall, that's, like, pretty irrelevant, her name. That doesn't really matter who she is. Was like a pretty okay Democrat, like liberal sort of progressive type, yada yada yada. For a Democrat, not terrible. And the DOJ is threatening to sue her. For what exactly? Jan Sikowski, thank you, Boy Miss Penny. The DOJ is threatening to sue Kat because what did she do? Quite honestly, all she did was practice her First Amendment rights. That's it. She went out to protest ICE's actions, those Gestapo little fucking freaks, those impetuous morons, and she had the gall to just like sit around and just have knitting circles in front of these utter fucking freaks, these charlatans, these madmen, these psychopaths. And she just had the gall to do that. And that's all. That was her crime. That's it. And there's an indictment that was given out by the DOJ. The DOJ decided to be like, no, you can't just have knitting and protesting against my fucking boys. So we're gonna basically go after you. Go fuck yourself, you stupid bitch. And I don't think I have to reiterate just how absolutely fucking insane that is. Like, the fact that a politician running for a seat within the House of Representatives can just get randomly arrested for engaging in what every politician should be engaging in, getting along with their community. Because keep in mind, Broadview, Illinois is a part of her congressional district that she's obviously seeking to lead and represent. Broadview is a part of that, a part of the Illinois' 9th district, so she would be a representative of it. And we all know of the protests that are going on there. Nobody likes the actions that ICE are doing. They see them as a foreign occupying force that's basically trying to kidnap a bunch of their community members. And nobody fucking likes them. Like, everyone hates these fucking freaks. They're impetuous, they're morons, and they are complete, utter fucking charlatans. And are generally ostensible, like, miserable people. Like, that's it. And so people are actively protesting against them because they don't like it. And what did the DOJ do under Donald Trump? Threaten to fucking sue people practicing their First Amendment rights. So it's totally fair and understandable to say, like, yeah, I don't feel safe and I don't feel like I can speak out properly, simply just due to the fact that we are living in a time where free speech and expression and civil liberties are at threat. Not only just for, I don't know, like, cis white males, like Dark Matter or myself, obviously, but for everybody. Like, because if you're a minority, you're a woman, you're a queer identifying individual, it's much worse. Much, much worse. Because there's already laws in the books that are actively going after these people. Like, this stuff about, like, free speech, relatively speaking, is a drop in the bucket, right? Still bad, obviously. I'm not trying to downplay. But it is in comparison to a lot of the other laws on the books and other bullshit that's currently happening within the United States of America, this is an attack. I think Sam Cedar of the Majority Report put this best. I think this is probably one of the worst times for free expression ever since the McCarthyite periods. Like, ever since the 60s. And because civil rights leaders got assassinated by the FBI and the CIA, right? Like, they got assassinated back during those days for black men and women, of course, expressing their sort of using their free speech and expression in order to advocate for civil rights for themselves. And we've gone back to that sort of position. People advocating for their own civil liberties and rights. You have no idea if Donald Trump catches wind of that one day and decides to sick his fucking crack team of freak lawyers onto you. Like, he could just do it because he's that petty and impetuous. And this is the current situation that we find ourselves under. It's genuinely fucking insane.
How does it feel to be lied to so badly? They lied about everything. All their alleged principles turned out to be lies. They never cared about freedom of religion or speech or the right to protest. They never cared about people losing their jobs and being silenced for political reasons. They never cared about cancellations. They never cared about an overreaching government pressuring companies to shut down the platforms of dissenters. They never cared about mass surveillance or a militarized government attacking its own citizenry. Oh, they stoked fears about that happening. They warned us for years. But now that it's finally happening, where are they? They're cheering it on. Liar.
So here's, okay, because this is what I figured would happen in this video. Not that I disagree with the position that Dark Matter is laying out here, this was always going to happen. This is just endemic to conservative values and beliefs, which like this has just always been the case. These people have always been charlatans. They've always lied. They've never believed in the principles of free speech. The perfect example of this is the Mehdi Hassan Jubilee debate, where when he was debating that dumbass pint sap, that Nazi, where he was just like, yeah, we just are going to use free speech in order to get what we want, and then once we have what we want, we're definitely not going to allow that stuff. This has always been the position of conservatives and fascists. Always, always. They've never cared about free speech. These people are liars. They have always lied. They are grifters. They cannot be believed. Like, there is nothing about anything that a conservative can say that's like, even like wholeheartedly redeemable. That is, I don't know. I'm trying to like think of the best term to even put this as. Like, nothing that these motherfuckers say about any of the positions that they supposedly believe in and have principles over should be ever taken seriously. These people are charlatans. They are freaks. They are monsters. They have always lied about their positions. They never actually believe in the principles of free speech or free expression. For them, and this is a consistent thing that I have mentioned before, they believe in one thing and one thing only: maintenance of hierarchy and control, where they are the ones specifically who are on the top of said hierarchy.
Phonies, frauds, hypocrites, scoundrels. You know who you are. This will all come to an end one day, and when it does, none of you will be forgotten. To support Trumpism at this late hour, after everything that has been said and done, after all the many attacks he has orchestrated against our own country, under the guise of patriotism, is to be a traitor. You are a traitor if you still support his authoritarian regime at this late stage. Ignorance is no longer an excuse. So, are you complicit or are you not? And to the corporations and organizations bending the knee out of fear, need I remind you that Trump will not be in office forever, and the actions you take now while you're under pressure speak to who you truly are. And we will not forget that either. We will not forget.
Okay, I don't disagree with this, right? This is like, I've said this before. I like dark matter. He is a liberal, right? But this was also inevitable. Like, the corporations should never be fucking trusted. They were always going to fold instantaneously. Always, always, always. Always, 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 always. The corporations were going to fold. And, I mean, it should be fairly obvious why. Because in the mind of the corporation, the only thing that they see, fundamentally speaking, the only things they care about and they see as an important driver for their success is the profit motive, right? They only care about making money. That's it. They will do anything possible just to make money. That's it. If it means that they can make more money and make all the money, they'll just make all the money. They don't give a shit about any of this stuff. For them, fundamentally speaking, with the corporations and the rich, the only thing that they made as an assessment and why they decided to support Trump overall is because they know and felt betrayed by the fact that Biden decided to pursue more antitrust. That's why, for example, all those tech CEOs, your Mark Zuckerbergs of the world, Sundar Pichai, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, all these dumbasses. You want to know how many lawsuits they had hovering over their heads by the FTC that was brought by Lina Khan, who has lost her position at this point? There was a lot of them. Very high-profile lawsuits with hearings happening during the Trump administration. So what did they do? Look out for their fucking wallets. That's what they did. They looked out for their wallets. They looked out for their money. And they decided to do one thing and one thing only. Support the dude who's going to give them relief from those specific, not tax cuts, but those specific lawsuits, which Trump gladly did. Gladly did. No problems whatsoever. Because that was, honestly, I think that was part of the intention for as to why they wanted to support Trump. They wanted to support him for one reason and one reason only. They knew that they would not have to deal with those FTC lawsuits hovering over them. Now, obviously, because Trump is incredibly petty, could we make the argument that it's backfiring on them? Sure. Even though everyone else was saying, like, he's going to betray you because that's just his thing. That's how he operates. Where he's, in terms of people, even if they swear fealty to him, he's still going to have, like, incredibly petty, idiotic, narcissistic issues with people who are his, I suppose, perceived allies. Because he is just that kind of man. He is incredibly impetuous. He's incredibly petty. He's incredibly fucking narcissistic. And if he can have like a slight, any kind of slight for something, anything, he's going to have that slight. It doesn't matter with someone like Trump. And all of these corporations, these companies, being cowards and not standing up to him, of course they were never going to stand up to him. The same thing, if we could do an analogy, same shit happened during Nazi Germany. All of the industrialists in Nazi Germany inevitably just swore fealty to the Fuhrer. They did. All of them did. Because they were in fear that their businesses were going to suffer. So it's just like, we still make a fuck ton of money. Everything's privatized as shit. We still have our profit motive. And, well, we just have to, simp for the state and Heil Hitler every now and again. Okay, that's fine. Whatever. So long as we still make our money. Because that's what fascism and authoritarianism is. It's not authoritarianism, but fascism is. It is the synthesis of both the state and private capital. When these two things essentially just blend in and come together. And given the sort of like oligarchic nature, which Joe Biden finally started to try to fight to just a tiny degree, just a little bit, right? The antitrust stuff was good. Very, very good, obviously. Harnessing your inner Teddy Roosevelt, for lack of a better term there. Harnessing that made the oligarchs that are currently in power incredibly fucking pissed. Even like the modest increase in just taxes that these people were being made to pay, they had a problem with that even as well. So it's one of those situations where in every sort of like circumstance, under every sort of position, if a corporation can side and allow laissez-faire, super free market capitalism in order to just do whatever the fuck they want in terms of unregulated business practices and all the whole 9 yards and everything, they'll just pick the side that lets them get away with that. And Trump is definitely always going to let them get away with that, because do you think he cares about regulating all of these corporations and the rich and whatnot? No, of course not. He's never given a shit about any of that stuff. Ever. He's never cared about any of that stuff. So it's one of those situations where it's just like, I'm not surprised. Honestly, like, this doesn't shock me whatsoever. There's already a historical precedent for all of this kind of stuff, right? Like, this has happened consistently before, right? Like, Nazi Germany withstanding, of course. But that's if a corporation, if a private entity can side with the position or the side, for lack of a better term, that can basically give them anything that they want in terms of ultimate like control of the market and monopoly around themselves, they're going to side with the fascists every single time, because that's exactly what they're going to get. So it's one of those things where it's just like, I'm not surprised at all that these private institutions all decided to bend the knee out of fear to Trump. Yeah, 1000%. This is a thing that's consistently happened throughout history. Every single corporation has done that at some point in time. It makes sense that it's happening all over again. It's not really surprising to me.
Forget what you did, good or bad, while under this temporary pressure. So what you need to do at this point in your life is weigh short-term comfort against long-term survival. In other words, think about the future. Giving in now might make you complicit to some...
I keep constantly pausing. What he's saying isn't wrong, but the problem is that corporations are always going to value short-term profit, right? All of the deregulatory stuff that's happened consistently with these companies have always been in favor for what is best for them in the short term. Make as much money as constantly as much as possible, right? It's the broader sort of byproducts of, I'll be honest, like this is just neoliberalism. This was always intended, where they're just going to do anything possible to make as much money as possible in the short term in order to concentrate more and more power around themselves. So of course they're going to side with the fascists if they think that they're going to make more money in the short term to basically have, well, more and more power concentrated on themselves, which is why, like, if we're talking about the main people who are causing all of the issues, there's a reason why leftists very, very often focus on the problems with capital being the main sort of problem in this sort of, like, I guess, realm, in this sort of position, because, again, like I've said before, and I'll say it again, they're okay with this. All the companies are okay with this because they know that under Trump, they're going to get the money. And they're fine with just making the money. They don't give a shit about any of this stuff. It's all about the money with these people.
Something people will find infamously unacceptable in the future. A permanent blemish on your record, akin to a felony. Not as part of some phony, inorganic cancellation, but as genuine disgust in people of conscience. And the things you do now will be cemented in history and will tell everyone who you really are. And whether you like it or not, you will be judged by others. There's no hiding from it. So choose wisely. Make your Faustian bargain if you wish, but accept the consequences of that. You know, when I talk to people and they say, did you know that so-and-so is MAGA? Or I tell them about some influencer, celebrity, or acquaintance that is MAGA, the reaction is always similar to finding out that they have cancer. There's genuine sadness for them. That's a damn shame, we say. It's always hard to find out that someone you know has no principles. And when I say no principles, I mean no principles. Because what's truly remarkable is that Trump is guilty of all the things his supporters claim to oppose. And that's also strong evidence that we're dealing with a cult here, because the leader is beyond reproach, even when he himself commits all the unforgivable sins in the most egregious ways. Excuses are made for him. Exceptions are made. And you are attacked as having committed the ultimate blasphemy known as Trump derangement syndrome.
Oh my god, like, honestly, even if it's just criticizing any, like, pro-MAGA sort of influencers as well, I know this all too well. He's spitting here. He's correct, right? Like, these people are in a cult. They are deranged. They are sycophants. They are nuts. You can't reason with most of these people. Sure, in some cases you can reason with them. Okay, we'll be nice, I guess. In some cases you can reason with some of these individuals, but for the most part, you if you want to, like, talk with your average fucking Trump supporter about politics, it's impossible. It's all gonna be it's always the exact same fucking bullshit. Same thought terminating cliches, same, like, red herring arguments, excuses constantly to to just come up with like anything possible to just not focus on the fact that any of his behavior is incredibly antithetical to their supposed fucking beliefs. Because again, like for a lot of these people, the cruelty is the point. Let's be quite honest here. For a lot of these people, they are okay with the current status quo, with the abhorrence that is on display. Let's be quite honest here. A lot of these people in reality are okay with material suffering being brought to the minority communities. They are okay with SNAP and the constant government shutdowns and instabilities because they know that they have the ability to materially benefit. They know that, or in the back of their minds, for a lot of these people, they think that they're not also going to be on the chopping block. Incredible naivete. I am very, very aware. I'm not ridiculous. Like I'm not being really hyperbolic or ridiculous here. Like it is incredibly naive. But that's how a lot of these people think. Like all of the Latin people who fucking voted for Trump, the Latinos for Trump and whatnot. Like most of those guys got fucking deported. Literally, the fucking dudes who wrote, oh my god, I will vote for Donald Trump. Those motherfuckers got deported. They all got deported. And everyone was just like, dog, we told you that this was going to happen. That you can't trust this motherfucker in power. He's going to betray all of you. Because he is serious when he says that I just don't like any of these motherfuckers. These people can, as far as I'm concerned, eat shit and die. Fuck them. Who cares? They're all brown and stinky. And we have to deport them. Fuck it. Who gives a shit? It's like, your ass is gonna be grass. It's gonna be grass. And we're telling you that it's gonna be grass. And you should heed our warnings that it's going to be grass. And they're just like, oh my god, I'm gonna vote for Donald Trump. And then they get the immediate stark realization that a bunch of their family members are getting deported. And they're like, no, how could this have happened? It's like, dog, we told you, man. Like, that you're gonna get fucked. Like, he's gonna come after you. Because this is a consistent pattern of behavior. This always happens. They were always going to come after these people consistently. So it's just like, I don't know. Like, part of me is just like, I mean, you should feel some sympathy perhaps for some of these people, but also at the same time, it's like, dog, I don't want to. It's just like, no, I don't think any of these people deserve any fucking grace. They know what they fucking did. They know that this is always going to fucking happen. And now they want to like shocked Pikachu face and be like, how could this happen to me? I know I've made my mistakes, but I've changed. I've become better now. It's like, no. Don't give me any of this bullshit. It's just, it's one of those things where it's just like, it's incredibly fucking irritating because everyone was warning and saying like, this is going to happen. You're going to suffer. Like, turn back. Like, you're going to actually face some consequences for this. And it's just like, huh? But I voted for Donald Trump. I'm one of the good ones. Why would they go after me? I'm like a good guy. It's just like, oh, okay. Never mind. There's no saving a lot of you people. Like, get you baited. Suffer the consequences of your fucking actions. Like, I don't know. It becomes like more and more difficult to have sympathy for a lot of these people because it's just like, dog, we all know what's gonna happen. It's gonna happen to you eventually. And then it starts happening. These people start shocked Pikachu facing. It's like, okay. Same with like a lot of these podcast bros, your Joe Rogan types, your Manosphere types as well. They were like, yeah, I'm gonna vote for heckin' Trump because he's like super heckin' based and super pog and awesome and whatnot. It's just like, he's gonna do a bunch of shit that you guys are not gonna like. And then all these like motherfuckers are just like, oh my god, he's doing so much shit that we don't like. And it's just like, okay, man. We told you he was gonna do a bunch of stuff that you're not gonna like. And now you guys want to, like, I don't know, pretend and be all shocked and whatnot and be like, oh, yeah, dude, we totally don't like the fact that Trump is, like, doing all this stuff and whatnot and is, like, fucking over all these, like, immigrant communities and whatnot. Yeah, it's really, really bad, blah, blah, blah. I can't believe he's, like, doing any of this stuff. And everyone is just, like, face-palming saying, like, we told you he was going to do this, man. we all said that he's going to do this, and you decided not to listen and just keep playing along with the bullshit. Like, what the fuck, man? And it's just like, whatever, dude. Whatever, man. Like, you keep, like, living in your sort of, like, isolated fucking bubble. And I mean, honestly, like, part of me wants to be uncharitable with a lot of these, like, podcast bro types. Especially with, like, Joe Rogan, for example. He deserves no charitability whatsoever. I think. Because he still knowingly platforms all these, like, right-wing grifters and fucking charlatans on a consistent fucking basis. And he knows overall that it's wrong. That these people are wrong. But he keeps just doing it because it's just, like, I don't know, I think he's just, like, a fucking grifter. And because a lot of these people are fucking grifters. And they speak, like, the niceties in the ears of these, like, dumbass podcast bros who have huge platforms, but they don't know any better. And it's just like, there's a reason why the left consistently talks about how you people need to have a responsibility with your fucking giant ass platforms because you influence millions upon millions of people every day. And guess what? Well, oops, all fascism is now here now, and you guys are expressing regret about that stuff. And it's just like, I don't know, man. It becomes really difficult to have sympathy for these people when they knowingly decided to simp for the authoritarian dipshit, wannabe authoritarian dipshit that's currently in power right now. And it's just like, I mean, everyone said this was going to happen, and none of you just motherfuckers decided to believe it. So I don't know, like it becomes like one of those cases. Like, it's very difficult for me to have any sympathy for you people because it's just like, okay, bro, like, we said this was going to always happen, and you guys didn't believe it. Now you want to fucking believe it? Okay, man.
Why is Trump exempt from their own alleged rules? Because he hurts who they hate. And for some people, hurting their enemies will override any of their professed principles.
This is also true.
And I mean that everything about Trump is what many of his most ardent supporters once claimed to hate. He's Hollywood elite, complete with his own star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. He's a big blue city billionaire who was a Democrat most of his life and was a part of their social circle. He's wildly insecure, weak, and easily offended. He's not a voice for the common man as they try to sell him. He has no idea what it's like to be a common man. Everything has always been done for him. The life of a giant toddler who doesn't know how to do even the most basic things like drive a car or shop for groceries. He cannot relate to you in any way. And not only was he credibly accused of sexual assault 26 times over 4 decades, but he was good friends with over a dozen high-profile pedos and sex offenders and has jumped through absurd hoops to obstruct, cover up, dismiss, and diminish the Epstein files. Mm-hmm. He released Ghislaine Maxwell to a minimum security prison where sex offenders aren't even allowed, and he even expressed interest in pardoning her. Other prisoners at that facility were transferred to harsher prisons just for speaking badly about her. Let me ask you.
That's true.
How many pedos and sex offenders are you good friends with? And when he came into power...
Okay. I'll be honest, because we're talking about fucking conservatives here. I wouldn't be surprised if they were actually good friends with a couple. Let's be quite honest. Let's be honest here. Pedocon fucking law. Okay, it's not pedocon fucking theory. It's pedocon law. A lot of conservatives tend to be, well, more harsh on children because they don't see children as human. They see them as homunculi, as simulacra meant to have directives and thoughts imprinted onto them because they don't see children as human. They don't see them as beings with their own wills and desires and wants and feelings. They see them as homunculi, as like things to lord over. Like unironically, like I do think this about conservatives. Like, they talk about how they want to protect the children. I think that conservatives are some of the biggest sort of haters of children. I'm going to be quite honest. Like, I think that they hate children. I think that they despise children. These like weirdo fucking sycophants, right? Like all of these like dumbass fucking conservatives who love to fucking talk that big game about how much they care about wanting to stop the pedophiles in power and whatnot. I really do think that a lot of those motherfuckers are consistently telling on themselves if they're a fucking conservative. Because it's like, dog, you believe in the ideology and the system of governance who fundamentally believes that children are not their own person, that they are not their own fucking humans. So, like, I don't believe you for even a second when you say that you care about kids. I don't agree with that. I think you're just saying that as a form of projection to, I don't know, protect your ass from, I don't know, potentially being abusive to your own fucking kids. Like, I'm being so for real when I say this. Like, I really do think that these motherfuckers just, in terms of like hatred of children, I really do think that these people just hate fucking children. Like, they talk a big fucking game about all these like how trans people consistently are always the fucking groomers, and in reality they will support fucking pedophiles in places in positions of fucking power, simply just due to the fact that, well, at least they ain't no queer or no demon rat, so, we might as well support this guy. And it's just like, you guys, you motherfuckers love to fucking laud and tout yourselves, rather, as, like, the protectorate of fucking children. But once you have, like, some weird dude who does some, like, sussy things with this kid, like, for example, Kid Rock has sung songs, quite literally, about wanting to fuck 14-year-olds, for fuck's sake. And, he's like a darling fucking conservative, like, singer. And it's just like, huh? But this man right here literally talked about wanting to do shit with kids, bro. Like, there's no principles or beliefs with these people. Like, nothing whatsoever that guides them.
He immediately abused that power, became wildly censorious, caused massive spending and deficits, warmongered, and dropped record-breaking numbers of bombs while claiming to create peace, and even shamelessly claiming that he deserved a Nobel Peace Prize right before sending in troops to attack Americans in cities he considers to be politically opposed to him. And he even openly admitted that it would be good practice for the military. Practice for what, exactly? He bombs civilian vessels, claiming that they're drug dealers, without showing a shred of evidence, as if that's even a crime worthy of being bombed in the first place. He politicizes federal duties that are meant to be neutral, thereby punishing the American people based upon who the majority voted for in a given area. For example, he's defunding energy infrastructure in blue areas to the tune of billions of dollars, which will drive up energy costs for Americans in those states that contribute the most money to the federal government. He denies disaster relief to blue areas, something he falsely accused Biden of doing to red areas, while proudly, openly doing it himself. He's
defunded FEMA. Guess who benefits the most from fucking FEMA dollars? Oh, it's red states. Because red states need the fucking federal dollars the most in order to do disaster relief. Because they don't have enough money within their own fucking budgets. Because they're poor fucking shitholes that are run terribly. Because there's only one fucking goddamn class that's made in interest there in those fucking red states. And it's the rich, specifically. It's all about fucking exploitation of the fucking people with these motherfuckers. There's, again, no basis, no principle for any of these motherfuckers whatsoever, like, consistently. Like, none whatsoever with fucking conservatives.
Sending in federal agents and red state National Guard to peaceful areas and deliberately stoking conflict, falsely claiming that they're war zones, all so that he can justify more authority. He wants to make blue areas worse places to live so that he can blame it on Democrat leadership. And remember that the man doing this was also a repeat draft dodger who renamed the Department of Defense to the Department of War and appointed a Secretary of War who was nothing more than a National Guardsman. Not to diminish the service people of the National Guard, but for one, a particularly young and inexperienced one, younger than I am, to publicly lecture our experienced wartime generals on the dangers of wokeness is absurd.
Dude, yeah, that fucking shit was so fucking dumb, man. The most ridiculous fucking bullshit on the planet was that whole, like, LARP cope shit with Pete Hegseth pretending to be like a Rome Total War fucking general, being like, so we're like heckin' base trad conservatives, right? Like, we need to be like super heckin' woke, not woke, super heckin' based epic arena, like, wartime fighters for conservatism. Deus Vult type fucking shit. And it's just like, dog, you're one of the most corny ass motherfuckers on the planet. Like, what the fuck is this bullshit, bro? Like, fuck out of here with this nonsense. Like, why are you doing this? Why are you people like this? Oh, because the corniness is kind of the fucking point with these people. Like, none of these people have any actual fucking beliefs. So I don't know if they want to do like Deus Vult LARPing and all this fucking bullshit. Yeah, it's whatever. Who cares? No principles, no beliefs, no standards, right? With all these like dumbass motherfuckers, right? Nothing fucking matters. So, whatever.
And quite ironic considering he's perfectly unqualified and proven to be grossly incompetent, something they warned us that DEI would bring. But it wasn't DEI who brought us the unqualified and incompetent. It was Trump choosing people out of loyalty, whether they'd bend the knee rather than if they were the best person for the job.
I've said this before, by the way, as well. Like, conservatives are totally okay with DEI. Like, let's be honest here. They want DEI. They just want DEI for themselves. Like that's it. There's a reason why a lot of conservatives, because again, and this is a really important point that I've started to stress recently. Conservatives are individuals who are upset about the fact that they have no relevance whatsoever in mainstream culture. And that's what it is. These people are upset about the fact that in terms of mainstream relevance and, I don't know, being able to participate in mainstream culture, they are just mad about the fact that they get actively shunned out of those circles. And why do they get actively shunned out of those circles? Because they're just not good at producing art. They can't produce it because of the ideology that they inherently fucking believe in. Conservatism is not conducive to producing good art. Period. End of story. These motherfuckers can cope, seethe, and maud about it all that they want. Conservatives do not care fundamentally about a free thought and fucking free expression, which is a very necessary, needed component that is absolutely necessary for there to be good art to be created. And conservatives hate free thought and expression. They despise that stuff. They see it as degenerate. They see it as something that needs to be actively fought against. So it's just like, well, that's a little interesting that these motherfuckers who purport and pretend to be these like super heckin' based, extremely trad conservatives, where they care so much about, I don't know, so much about wanting to look and seem super heckin' based and epic and based and red-pilled or whatever, and wanting to only care about doing everything possible to maintain systems of hierarchy and control over those that they deem the sort of irredeemable, the degenerate, the weak, the meek, the pathetic. Because for all these people, it's all about might makes right with these people. That's all they really care about. If you're the stronger guy, well, you're good in their books. If you're weak, well, you're fucked. Fuck you. You suck. You're too weak. You can't even fucking defend yourself whatsoever. Suffer and eat shit and die from whatever fucking potential consequences. We don't care about any of you people. In reality, with these people, what they care the most about is about subjugation of people. Because that's purely what it is. It's all about subjugating people to, I don't know, like essentially an existence of being under the boot of them, because they are upset that these people are gaining more and more prominence culturally in comparison to them. It's like, because in their minds, they think that they're the ones who have built all of the great works of art that existed throughout history. No. It was creative fucking visionaries. It was people who had the sort of like wherewithal to want to actively challenge things and challenge the status quo. Conservatives, if they were back in the times during the pre-Enlightenment period, they would have been a part of the Inquisition that went after, like, Galileo, for example. I 1000% believe this. They would have gone after him. They would have seen his science and his beliefs and thoughts on, like, I think it was astronomy, as like degenerate against the church. Like, you can't fucking advocate for these things. It goes actively against what the church believes. You can't fucking do that. Like, we're gonna come after you. And these motherfuckers would have been a part of like the fucking Spanish Inquisition, prosecuting fucking religious thought crimes consistently. And they know it. They know it. They actively celebrate this stuff. So again, like, these people are hypocrites. They don't believe in anything, and it's important to have the analysis and wherewithal to understand, like, immediately when you're criticizing conservatives, that these motherfuckers don't believe in anything. They believe in nothing. Because if they actually believe in stuff, like they purport to care about, small government and conservatism, and wanting to reduce the bureaucracy, when everything that they advocate for would only increase the bureaucracy needed by a factor of 10 at the very fucking least, then they would have some actual principles and beliefs when it comes to this stuff. But they don't. They never have. And they never will. These people, like I've said before, they are all knowing charlatans and liars, and they pretend not to be, and they will always actively laugh at in your face about this as well. Like, so that's why I consistently say you should treat these people with zero sympathy. And they've always been like this. They've always lied. They've never really believed in anything whatsoever. So, like, this is why you have to be as aggressive as possible against these people, because they always just lie to your face. Now, there can always be some conservatives out there who actually do believe in stuff, and if they actually do believe in stuff and purport to actually care about the Constitution or whatever, like, try to treat them with some good faith. There are some exceptions to the rule, but for a lot of these, like, triple Trump voters who still do all the fucking excuses possible for him, don't treat these people with any sympathy or mercy whatsoever, because they don't deserve it. They don't deserve it.
They claim to desire a meritocracy, but all they really care about is whether you're on their team. Trump has repeatedly committed blatant acts of election interference, has been rightfully charged with RICO violations during the 2020 election, and belongs in prison for doing so, which is exactly where he would have gone if he didn't become the president. He imposes.
Okay, I have to step in. Honestly, if it wasn't fucking Merrick Garland being such a fucking coward, like, let's not shirk responsibility of the Democrats in this particular case. The Democrats had a huge part to play in the fact that Donald Trump was able to get away with a lot of the bullshit that he was able to get away with. The fact that Merrick Garland decided to be such a fucking coward, such a fucking, like, pathetic fucking loser, and not go after fucking Trump in the way that he should have, is a huge factor for as to why Trump was able to get back into power in the way that he was able to. Like, Merrick Garland deserves endless amounts of fucking criticism for the role that he fucking played in the sort of facilitation of the fact that he decided to just shirk all responsibilities and not do anything about pursuing fucking Donald Trump to the extent that he should have fucking pursued him.
Secret police and mass surveillance. Where are you, right-wingers who were against the Patriot Act? And Trump is eliminating the presumption of innocence. Where are all you right-wingers who criticized the Me Too movement's Believe All Women slogan because you claimed to believe in the presumption of innocence? Innocent until proven guilty. Everyone deserves a day in court. Everyone deserves to face their accuser. Remember that? All that went right out the window. Now you cheer when ICE invades neighborhoods in Chicago and rounds people up in bulk without even bothering to find out who they are or what they've done, let alone ask for their papers. At least the Nazis asked for papers. We don't even do that anymore. Where are you now? You're proudly announcing that you voted for it. That's where you are. Sold your soul. Sold everything you claimed to be. And for what? And it's all done with the pretense of stopping crime, which is bullshit. You know, I lived in Chicago when it was at its most violent, which was during the early 90s. Crime today is far below what it was back then. And back then, deploying the military as some sort of solution wasn't even thinkable. Yet the
Oh, that would have been a fucking scandal back in the day. But we know why Trump is trying to use that excuse. Like, I mean, he's just trying to use it as an excuse for the authoritarian power grab. That's obvious, right? And also, like, let's not forget with these like complete fucking charlatans and freaks. They've always been like this, right? This is just a consistent pattern of behavior, right? Like, I don't think like much has really changed in terms of the conservative like patterns and thoughts and beliefs in terms of this stuff, because they've never cared about like meritocracy or democratic sort of beliefs and systems, right? They actively fucking shun all that stuff. They think it is a point of, well, let's be honest here. They think it is a point of weakness, right? Like, they've never cared about crime. That was always just an excuse for them to just go after black people, right? Because if they can go after black people, well, they love going after black people and making I don't know, the people suffer more and more, because again, for these people it's all about subjugation for them overall. Like, they just want people to suffer. And I feel like, I mean, dark matter probably knows this. I'm probably preaching a little bit to the choir here, but these people have, they've never had like these thoughts. It's always been like a consistent pattern of behavior. And I mean, like, I don't know, this is supposed to be like an appeal to like the conservatives, like maybe like the more moderate conservatives or whatever. The Republican Party was always inevitably, I think, going to get to this position. I think this was an inevitability for the Republican Party, because these are people who have, they've never really cared about like any like principled thoughts or beliefs in terms of democracy, even like moderate conservatives, especially if they're like triple Trumper, like MAGA, Cankles, McTaco Ticks fucking voters. These people have never believed in really much of anything, because again, for them it's about one thing and one thing only: maintenance of that hierarchy and systems of control. It's always been that with them.
the crime managed to drop anyway by more than 50%. That period is known.
Oh yeah, and also the only reason, because this is what I actually paused it for. The only reason why crime went up in Chicago and all these like liberal cities was because of COVID. Because of course it went up during COVID. Because that's just what happens. Like, yeah, it was a very economically sort of tumultuous time, and people were desperate for relief, and so they had to, well, in order to either not lose their homes, not go hungry, they had to take difficult decisions and potentially commit some fucking crimes as a result. Like, this is, I mean, this is just something that consistently happens. It's a byproduct of the current material conditions that we find ourselves under.
Known as the Great Crime Drop. Look it up. And it didn't take the military to accomplish it.
Nope.
Now, people are more afraid of the government than of the gangs. Masked men are rounding up Americans and disappearing them, oftentimes based on race alone. But they'll attack anyone. They beat people in the streets for nothing. It's a gang. They're wearing masks and going after people for doxing them, as if that's even a thing for law enforcement. Their names should be right on their chests for all to see.
But
we,
they're not.
as Americans, should not be programmed to blindly obey any anonymous person who demands it of us. Why do they even think they can get away with such blatant and illegal abuses of power? Well, because they were given explicit permission by the highest office in the land. So who the hell is going to prosecute them? Well, nobody
Correct.
right now, because Trump installed his loyalists. They don't even know how to do their own jobs. All they know how to do.
Yeah, like, I don't disagree with what Dark Matter is saying here, but part of the blame should also be laid on the Democrats here, with Merrick Garland deciding to be a complete fucking coward and not prosecuting Trump and not going after Trump, right? Like, that's a huge important position. Like, not that I'm trying to blame him for like saying, I mean, this is purely meant to be attacks against the fucking Republican Party, right? And I don't disagree with that. The biggest issue here is when at the DOJ, Merrick Garland decided to not go after Trump in the ways that he should have. And why exactly? Because he was a fucking DEI hire that Joe Biden put in there because he felt bad about the fact that Mitch McConnell blocked his fucking Supreme Court fucking goddamn appointment that Obama was fucking promising to him. And that's why he decided not to go after the Republicans for some reason. Motherfucker, the only thing you should be doing is becoming like one of the most strongest anti-Republican fucking soldiers on the planet. They fucked you over from your initial job, so you shouldn't be showing any fucking sympathy to these motherfuckers. None whatsoever. Merrick, like what the fuck are you doing, Merrick? Why are you fucking deciding to be like, oh, you know, I'm just going to not really prosecute and give the Jack Smith sort of commission, not commission, but the Jack Smith sort of prosecutorial team, not the full tools necessary in order to go after them and give all the Republicans as many opportunities to throw as much doubt into the wind against Jack Smith as much as possible. Because that was your one opportunity to officially throw him in the fucking slammer and never have to hear from him ever again. And the DOJ under Joe Biden fucking squandered it. They squandered it. They were failures. They decided not to overall do everything that they could have done in their power, and there was plenty they could have done in their power in order to take care of those motherfuckers. So it's just like, okay, bro, whatever. Nice fucking meet. Very, very cool that Merrick Garland decided to, I don't know, basically pussy out and just pussyfoot about and just not do anything about the dumbass fucking Cheeto that's currently in power. It's just like, thank you, Merrick. Very, very cool.
Is be yes men, follow orders. That's not helping the country. That's endangering it. That's why these masked thugs invading our cities feel safe, zip-tying children in the street, beating random people, attacking anyone who exercises their right to film it, and now even gunning people down. That's why they're not afraid to commit blatant atrocities against Americans on American soil. Anyone who knowingly signs up for that is already the worst of the worst. We're taking people who belong in prison and we're putting them in uniform. And the result is that they are attacking innocent Americans and even children.
Oh, a lot of these people are also neo-Nazis. Like, a lot of these people are Nazis. Like, they are the deplorables. They are miserable fucking wretches. Like, these people, like, sometimes you even question if they're fucking human. It's like, wow, you're a real fucking piece of work there, Bubby. God, you are fucking awful. And yeah, you tend to ask yourself some fucking questions like, are you even fucking human? I sometimes I find myself asking some questions like, because God, you people are fucking awful.
And they're laughing about it. Mm-hmm. This is the side that claims to be for family values, by the way. But as I said, that was all a lie. People who still support this have no principles. They lied to you. They didn't want to drain the swamp. They wanted to be the swamp. They weren't outraged. They were jealous. Where are all you people who were against the pandemic overreach? What happened to you? Why aren't you speaking out against this? Where are all you smaller government people? Where are all you states' rights people? I'll tell you where they are. They're supporting it. Because during the pandemic, the policies were affecting them. And that's the only reason they were against it. Mm-hmm. They can only comprehend that which affects themselves. They're against empathy and will even explicitly say so. But now they believe that the government is only going after other people, illegals or leftists. And that's what they want. So they don't feel like this government overreach will affect them. So they support it. That's how myopic, selfish, and dumb these people are. Mm-hmm. And to the masked thugs, remember that when the Nazis were rounding people up, they didn't think they'd be held accountable either. They were in charge. They had ultimate authority over who got rounded up and who got killed. They too were untouchable lords. But that was a very brief moment in time. And just like them...
Yep, this is a very good historical analogy that Dark Matter is bringing up here. Even the fucking... The SA, the stormtroopers, the brown shirts, even they, during Kristallnacht, got purged. Because eventually... Hitler recognized and said, like, well, we don't need these fucking thugs anymore to do a paramilitary fucking enforcement. Optically speaking, they look really fucking bad. They are drunkards and ill fucking disciplined weirdos. I now have the fucking military on my side, who are not drunkards and ill disciplined fucking weirdos. So I'm just going to use the fucking military and the state police that I'm going to establish as well. So, goodbye, essay. You guys have outlived your usefulness. And during Kristallnacht, Hitler killed all of them.
You're not going to be in charge forever. And even though you may feel safe behind your mask, remember that there are still records of everything. You signed up for it using your own name. So just because it isn't known now, that doesn't mean it won't be known later. And so you may find yourself in a courtroom one day, which is a right you stripped from so many others. And if you don't like where they send you, remember where you sent so many others. Remember how you violated their rights. Remember how you terrified people and put them in limbo, put their entire lives on hold. Remember how you laughed about it. When the day comes in which you beg for mercy, ask yourself if those who show no mercy are more or less likely to receive any. But I know that this is falling on deaf ears. You have no principles. 47% of Republicans said that they would still vote for Trump, even if it was proved that Trump was directly involved with Epstein's trafficking of minors.
Absolutely
Of the people
insane.
who voted for Trump in 2024, that's 36 million of them. The law and order people, the anti-pedo people, the family values people. The people who smeared leftists as pedos and groomers just for supporting the LGBT community. The people who...
It's that same point that I brought up before. These motherfuckers do not think of children as human. They think of them as homunculi, as simulacra, as things to have thoughts and beliefs to be imprinted upon. So, of course, in reality, they could give less of a flying fuck about pedophilia. In reality, there is a reason why conservatives tend to be fucking pedophiles themselves. Again, it's not pedocon theory, it's pedocon law.
Who claim to care about closing the border because they say they worry about children being trafficked.
Oh, yeah.
But if their guy trafficked children or participated in their abuse, then it's okay because he's there.
Literally like Matt Gaetz, who Trump wanted to have as AG of the fucking country, trafficked a 17-year-old so he could fuck her. Like, genuinely fucking insane, dude.
Guy. He has done more than enough to link himself to sex trafficking and abusing minors, but that doesn't even matter to these people. So there's really nothing you can say to them. Even if Trump were innocent, they already answered the hypothetical. If Trump is guilty, they'd still support him. They've already made the concession. So you can't use logic on them. They don't care about hypocrisy. You can't shame them. They care nothing about morality. How could they? How much worse does it get than sex trafficking children? Yet they're willing to overlook that. Now, maybe some of them questioned it for the length of the typical modern news cycle, but now they're all right back to their usual shameless cheerleading. You see, for them, morality only exists when they feel they've been wronged, but they don't give a damn when anyone else is wronged. For them, morality is just a chess piece that can be used to either attack or be sacrificed for their own benefit.
This is really, really important to say. These people believe in nothing. And I'm glad that liberals are coming more and more to this realization. There is no such thing as a principled fucking conservative. Bull fucking shit. Even back during the times of Reagan, where like neoliberals pretend that, all these like hecking principled conservative arenos, they just simply want a smaller government and that's really about it. Even back then, they were still all of the exact same queerphobic, transphobic, racist, dipshit ass motherfuckers. There has been no change because it is endemic to the ideology itself. These people have no thoughts, they have no principles, they have no beliefs. Nothing that these motherfuckers say should hold any weight. Everything that they say should be actively criticized and shunned because they pretend. They do the song and dance to appease the fucking liberal who thinks that they are principled. Looking at you, Ezra Klein. But in reality, if all these motherfuckers could throw you in the fucking concentration camp, they would in a heartbeat. They would. They don't care. No beliefs with these people.
Benefit. Such people cannot be allowed to shape our society and our future. But that's exactly what they're trying to do right now. And the consequences of that are going to affect us for a very long time if we don't stop it by stripping them of leadership as soon as possible, and then dramatically reducing the power of the executive branch, beginning with making it criminally accountable for its actions.
Honestly, I would go further. I think the Republican Party in its current form should not be allowed to exist. Shouldn't be allowed to exist. Period. End of story. There has to be a level of reconstruction. And I'm saying reconstruction, economic emancipation for the fucking proletariat, not seen since the fucking since FDR. Has to be more fucking extreme, more fucking radical, because that's the only way you're gonna nip this shit in the bud. There has to be some form of a Bernie crat, democratic socialist, a Zoran Mamdani type, a socialist that's willing to be like, I'm going to radically, and I mean radically, change your life for the better by giving you economic emancipation. Because we've seen this throughout all the fucking ballot measures. We've seen it throughout all of them. All of them. Consistently in red states. They want increases in the minimum wage. They want to keep abortion laws. They want expanded fucking health care. But their politicians, their supposed betters, never fucking do it. Because they are spending way more time propagandizing these motherfuckers to, I don't know, look at this other shiny thing that's over there, jingling the fucking keys as a distraction. And that's the main problem. That's one of the main issues, right? Because there is, and the Republicans are not the only ones, because they are the ones who are willfully misinforming. The Democrats also have a part to play in this as well, because they don't fucking call out this behavior and just sit on their fucking stomachs presenting or begging for fucking mercy for no reason. They are complicit because, again, what it ultimately comes down to is whatever the fucking corporations want. Whatever they want is what happens. And that is the main problem. All of this ultimately comes back to the fact that currently we are living under an oligarchic system of governance. That's the main issue. The oligarchs in power who want Donald Trump to do all of his like stupid authoritarian fucking bullshit are wholeheartedly okay with all of the stupid fucking authoritarian bullshit that he is fucking pulling. And that's why they're just okay with it. That's why. They have no problem with it whatsoever. None whatsoever. Because again, all of these motherfuckers, both Democrats and Republicans, get the exact same corporate financing and donations. It's all one big club. And you ain't in it.
Politicians need to start fearing the people again. I am sick and tired of it being the other way around. And if you think that we're not going to win MAGA over by speaking this way, then you're way behind the curve. At this late stage, the ones who were worth winning over have already been won over. As for the rest, you're not going to win them over at all, nor should you want to. They're exactly where they want to be forever and always. I'm not in the habit of capitulating to my opponent's demands on how I should win them over, especially this opponent, because for them, lying is like breathing. They pretend to shift their vote based on being called deplorables or Nazis. Yet when Trump does the same or worse, when he openly claims to hate more than half the country and says he wants them to suffer, his supporters see nothing wrong with it because they're shameless liars. So we shouldn't want to win them over. They should just be politically impotent permanently. Now bear in mind that they remain an extreme minority, with all their gains achieved by manipulating a system that has been abused to the point of uselessness. They are unneeded. Those abuses of the system need to change. Literally every branch of the government needs to be overhauled at this point, because our supposed checks and balances clearly aren't working. Congress has succumbed to corruption and pressure, and it's absurd that the traitor in the Oval Office has been able to install a third of the Supreme Court. This is our true national emergency. Your true self comes out when you are being tested, when you are tempted, when you're under pressure, when it becomes costly to stand by your principles. The decisions you make during those moments peel back the layers of camouflage in which you've cloaked yourself to tell others who you are, or even to tell yourself who you are. You think cheating is wrong, but when you're married and a person you find very attractive comes on to you, what do? You're against theft, but you found a wallet full of money and it has identification in it. What do? The people who still support Trump have chosen to go against their professed principles for what they believe will create an advantage for themselves, which is the same as cheating on their spouses or keeping the wallet. There's no more pretending. There's no more lying that they can do. We know they're lying now. All their camouflage is gone. They're naked now. The picture is crystal clear now. All good faith is gone. All trust is gone. No longer can they even pretend to care about pedos or government overreach or overspending or corruption or war, because they supported all of it explicitly. The devil made them an offer and they gladly took it. They can't then turn around and claim to oppose the devil. Oh, they'll clearly deny inconsistencies to your face, even when they're as clear as day, but you simply must reject their testimony now. It's done. It's over. There's nothing they can say. It's all lies now. Simply reject it all as the lies they are. Countless people have been negatively affected by this new political shift in power. They're using up their influence very quickly.
Okay, I guess I should have waited before like some of my critiques. But yeah, this is exactly true. 1000%. This is the attitude. Like, and this is also the same thing from Jennifer Welch from I've Had It. She's also having the exact same fucking attitude shift. You can't treat these people seriously. You can't. They are cult. They are brainwashed. You can't have rapport with these people. It is impossible to have rapport with these people because they are not interested. They're not. They don't care. They don't give a shit. And they will actively laugh at you in front of your face. Actively. They don't care. None of these people have cared whatsoever. So you have to do everything possible to make them capitulate. There is only one language that these fucking motherfuckers will respond to, and that is might. That is strength. That is making them look like complete fucking weak charlatans and freaks. That is the only language that these people respond to. That is it. You have to make them capitulate. That is it. That's the only way you can treat all of these motherfuckers. Otherwise, you risk to just be consistently, and I mean consistently, bowled over.
Quickly, because people who are motivated by the politics of hurting others never expect their politics to hurt themselves. But that is exactly what always ends up happening. Unfortunately, such people are not usually bright enough to form predictive models in their head so that they realize what bad ideas they have. The only way for them to learn is through the actual negative experience itself. And sometimes they're still not bright enough to learn even then, especially not with all the shifting of blame and bogus scapegoats their masters give them in order to escape accountability. And now we're dealing with a scary escalation because of that failure of imagination. You see, things keep escalating, and we can't survive if we keep going in this direction. We're still on year 1 of this term.
Oh, yeah.
The murder of Charlie Kirk.
Holy shit, God, it is only still year 1. I keep forgetting just how we're not even through the first year, man. There's still like 2 months left of the first year of this fucking administration. It's already incredibly fucking tiring, dude. It's insane to me.
Was used to justify a dramatic escalation. Now, I can understand thinking that the Kirk murder itself was an escalation, being a politically motivated murder. But it escalated to that point long before that, to the point of shooting and killing Democrat politicians and their families in Minnesota.
Yep.
But that was quickly and absurdly dismissed and shamelessly lied about. It was ignored by Trump and company. Any pageantry and flags at half-mast across the nation was out of the question. There wasn't talk of naming highways after them or putting their faces on money like there was for Kirk, which is absurd, and all fake reverence, by the way. He did nothing to warrant such worship, which is why it all rings so hollow. It's largely performative, as are most politics now. Charlie Kirk was treated very differently than the murdered Democrats because the different political sides capitalize on violence in very different ways. And also because, I believe, because Kirk's murder was caught on camera and was very brutal, which I think makes it more real for people who aren't his friends, family, or acquaintances.
That's a good point.
I did a recent video called The Untold Reality of Political Violence that explains why the right and the left treat violence so differently, and why there is a huge misconception that the left is more violent, even though that's very much obviously not the case when you actually study all the data and incidents that have occurred over the last 40 or so years. When you look into it, you find that the overwhelming majority of political murders are committed by those who hold to right-wing ideology, specifically white supremacy, which is a lot more likely to become violent, since so much of the ideology itself is rooted in fear. The right-wing politicians and influencers, however, desperately want you to buy into a complete inversion of reality. Their narrative needs there to be a violent leftist movement so that they can implement authoritarian policies based on political ideology.
Yep, it's all scapegoating with these motherfuckers. That's it. It's a consistent pattern of behavior, by the way. Like, this, ever since 1933, I honestly, even earlier, it's always about fucking scapegoating with these motherfuckers. Always. Always. They have to scapegoat. Because in reality, if a conservative were to argue based on the merits and arguments of their positions, they would never win. They would never win. Because they know ultimately what they believe in is incredibly fucking unpopular. If you logically think about the thoughts and beliefs of a fucking conservative for even 3 fucking seconds, the thoughts and beliefs that they have are incredibly unpopular. Nobody likes conservatism. Nobody thinks that shit is punk rock, for fuck's sake. Fuck no, absolutely not. Everyone hates conservatism. Nobody likes conservatism. Everyone thinks it's an aberrance. No one likes what the conservatives have to offer for people because, generally speaking, they know that one set of people are the main ones who get fucked over, and it's generally, well, your average fucking Americans, right? People know this. You take a look at conservative policies, none of them are popular. They are, generally speaking, like, not very, very well liked. Yeah, this is a good fucking point there, Boy Meets Minnie. Trump is doing his dumbass fucking ballroom, and he is still justifying it and saying that it is all about, like, instead of, like, doing anything about the government fucking shutdown. He refuses to do anything about it. He prefers to focus on his, like, stupid little ballroom instead and just, like, gallivant about. Because that's what it is. He doesn't care about the American people. He's never cared about the American people. Ever. Ever cared about the American people. Under any fucking circumstance. The government shutdown that is going on still to this fucking day. And it's been about a month. About a fucking month that the government shutdown's been happening. And it's still going on. Why? Because the Republican Party, they know with the fucking Epstein files and everything, if that were to come out, they're fucking cooked. They are wallahi fucking cooked, bros. And they will do anything possible. And I mean anything possible to make sure that shit will never make the light of day. Anything. If that means not swearing in, say, for example, Adelita Grauhava, if that means not allowing for a certain the House to ever reconvene for votes on that discharge petition, they'll do it. Because these people don't have any principles. They have none. They don't give a shit. Like, if people can fucking suffer, they'll just make them fucking suffer. They don't care. They're liars. They're charlatans. They are freaks. They actively know what they are doing. and people are just specifically in their constituency are generally fucking okay with it. These people can't be trusted in the annals of power. You cannot have any rapport with these people. It's impossible.
Exactly what the Trump regime is currently trying to do. According to Trump's 7th National Security Presidential Memorandum, or NSPM-7, which gives law enforcement...
I'm really glad that he's bringing up NSPM-7. Kenny Clips, our boy, would be really, really fucking proud if that was the case. Because, yeah, like, basically, a quick summary. I'm assuming that Dark Matter probably will also give a quick summary, but I'll also say my fucking quick summary on this. NSPM-7 is basically a presidential memorandum that says if there are people perceived as being anti-American in the minds of Trump, whatever the fuck that means, you can interpret that however you wish, because certainly they will interpret it however they wish, that you can bring people into question, you can arrest them, you can detain them if they are spouting positions that Trump deems as anti-American. Like I said before, you can interpret that however you may wish. We probably have a very, very good idea what they fucking mean by what Trump deems as anti-American. It's going to be some fuck shit. That's what it is.
Specific areas they are to focus upon. Those specific areas of focus are to investigate anyone who holds extreme views on migration, race, or gender, or anyone they deem anti-Christian or anti-capitalist or anti-traditional American values or anti-American as potential terrorists looking to overthrow the government. And of course, that will be construed as anyone who is anti-Trump, which is especially ironic, seeing as how Trump himself encouraged and then pardoned those who literally, physically, violently attacked the Capitol of the United States.
Yep.
And is now using the military to attack our own citizens. He himself should be investigated under his own memorandum. He's a blatant traitor and a man who is as far from Christ-like as anyone could possibly be. So it's all fake. They don't actually care. They have no real principles other than to do whatever it takes to acquire more power. And they will use whatever pretense they think aids in their acquisition of more power. And
God, I'm so glad that he is saying this. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. Like, on the fucking money. Yeah, these motherfuckers, they don't believe in anything. Anything in order to acquire more and more and more and more and more power. That is what they truly, truly fucking believe in. These people don't fucking care. Like, they don't give a shit about any of this stuff. None of this fucking matters to a fucking conservative. For them, it is all about maintenance of systems of control and hierarchy. That is it.
Believe it or not, Trump himself is anti-American, vehemently so. And that will be hard for some people to see because Trump likes to use the American aesthetic to virtue signal that he is a patriot, when really he is just using his executive power for purely selfish reasons, to enrich himself and his friends and family, and to get what he thinks is revenge on those he has deemed his enemies. But he's against the Constitution and against the American values of freedom. Absolutely. How does the Trump administration define extremist? Well, it doesn't really matter, since they themselves are extremists, so their opinions will be skewed. Because an extremist has distorted views, a person with normal views will look extreme to them. How do they define anti-Christian or anti-American? Doesn't matter. Since it's all about power, they can construe you as either if they want to. If you were ever critical of Christianity, even as a Christian, critical of a particular denomination, or if you were ever critical of capitalism, even crony capitalism, or not just America, but even America's policies or America's past, then perhaps they can accuse you of encouraging violence. Now, you might say that mere disagreements about religion, economics, or America can't possibly be construed as encouraging violence, but consider what Trump has already called encouraging violence.
I like that he includes Christians like me who are critical. Oh, 1000%. Yeah. Because, like, listen, we've said this before. The Reddit atheists, when they were talking about their sort of broader criticisms of evangelical Christianity, they were correct. They were always correct in their fucking broader sort of criticisms. Like, every single fucking time. 1000% of the time. They were always, and I mean always, right in their fucking positions. Like, consistently. And, I was up, like, obviously I'm expecting this from, like, Dark Matter, who does, like, a very, very, very good job at making sure and that his positions are well laid out and generally thought out consistently, which is another one of the reasons for S2 why I do like Dark Matter. He does a very, very good job at talking about the very specific people and cases within the broader sort of positions and whatnot that are being criticized about. He does a very, very good job talking about these things.
Trump wants to send people who burn their own American flag, their own property, to prison for a year because he says such an act encourages violence, even though the Supreme Court ruled 36 years ago that it's protected free speech. You see, Trump's patriotism is really just hollow performative patriotism that ironically goes against actual American values and does far more harm than the mere burning of a piece of cloth. But what about anti-Christian? According to the First Amendment, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion. I, for one, believe that people should be able to freely and peacefully practice Christianity. I just don't believe the religion itself is true, and I try to convince others of that because I believe that religious thinking leads us exactly to where we are right now. Does that make me anti-Christian? Well, in a way, yes, but most certainly not in a way that advocates violence against Christians, nor the use of any sort of force against them for being Christian. And I'm actually pro-America, meaning that I want America to improve as a society, become more peaceful, prosperous, and facilitate upward mobility for the masses, which obligates me to not support Donald Trump's fascistic, hostile takeover in any way. But what they're trying to do is make the Trump name synonymous with America. Their goal is to make being anti-Trump considered synonymous with being anti-America. Then you can be considered the enemy, an outsider, not a real American. Once you're the enemy from within, as Trump said to the generals, you can be dehumanized. And once you're dehumanized, any matter of atrocity can be committed against you with a clean conscience. That dehumanization includes using the murder of Charlie Kirk to demonize those they deem on the side of the murderer. It doesn't matter how far removed you are from the murderer or his politics. You see, it's all about power. If you're against Trump, then you are the enemy, and you will inherently be considered as belonging to the side, not the man who killed Charlie Kirk. They want to collectivize the blame. They did this. They did that. They tried to assassinate Trump. They killed Charlie Kirk. That's how they present the rhetoric. And since you are a part of they, you essentially played a role in killing Charlie Kirk. That's the goal of the rhetoric, guilt by association, whether you can legitimately be associated or not. Because once you can be deemed a violent radical, all kinds of extreme acts can be justified against you. The falsehood that you are somehow complicit will be used to intimidate you into silence. What we're witnessing right now is not just an escalation of violence, but also the use of that violence to justify an escalation of harmful labels and actions. You can be a humanist who desires nothing but peace and prosperity, like I do, yet be investigated as a terrorist nonetheless. That's your new label, terrorist. Because if you as a political enemy can be called terrorists, then you can also become part of the war on terror, which means that the full capabilities of the United States can be leveraged against you. Illegally, of course, but that doesn't matter to this new regime. This
they don't care.
Law and order regime does nothing but disregard law and order. Just like everything else they claim to be, they are actually...
I guess to be clear, having faith doesn't lead you to authoritarian thinking generally. The problem is when institution has a permission structure to dominate the state. Yeah, exactly, Boy Meets Mini. But that's like a more general sort of criticism I think that you can have of anti-theists and like a lot of like anti-theists form of thinking, which is I would say the school of thought that Dark Matter engages in. I'm not sure if I'm like properly steel manning his position here or accurately recounting his position here. But yeah, when Marxists, generally speaking, critique a lot of fundamentalist Christian beliefs and whatnot, it is generally born out of the fact that the main issue that leads to that is the fundamentalist sort of Christian state, right? That's what is being generally criticized there when they talk about the main issues with Christianity, right? Like, it's not, it's like, well, no. The main issues, and I'm speaking mostly here to the Reddit atheists in this particular instance. It's like, no, the main problems are generally born out of the fact that that these institutions, specifically that of the church, will do basically everything in their power to maintain their own sort of positions of power. It is all about power in the end with these people, right? Like, that's not like ridiculous or hyperbolic to say. That's the main problems that people, generally speaking, will have with the church. It is an institution that will do basically anything possible to justify its own sort of like hierarchical position within society possible. And that's the main issue that a lot of Marxists have, right? And that's the main issue that I also have with a lot of these anti-theist types sometimes, especially online, where they are correctly assessing that the church is a problem. However, the main thing to focus on is not the just religion itself being the problem, which is the argument that they will make very often. The problem, fundamentally speaking, is the institution of the church. The fact that it's been institutionalized in the way that it has been is the main problem, right?
Actually, the perfect opposite. Trump and his regime are the real terrorists, literally using terror tactics to silence their political opposition.
Mm-hmm.
I myself am probably not very high on their list of priorities, but I fully expect to be investigated just because of my YouTube channel. Never mind the fact that I've never encouraged violence against anyone and have always been explicitly against violence. Never mind that I have no criminal record or even so much as a traffic ticket. Never mind that me and my entire family were born and raised in America, going back generations. None of that will matter because I said the wrong words in the land of the free and the home of the brave, where freedom of speech is our very first amendment. Wrong think, pre-crime. I can be called guilty no matter how innocent I am. Will they be able to legally do anything to me? No, of course not. I've done nothing illegal. But do they care about legality? Again, no, of course not. So, yeah, I'm worried, but I'm going to keep talking anyway. Like I said, who you are under pressure is who you really are. And I know who I want to be, so that is what I will choose to be. And that is someone who will keep talking.
07.
You know, some of the dumber ones who still openly support Trumpism will even drop all pretense and admit that they support things like freedom of speech, religion, the right to bear arms, due process, habeas corpus, cruel and unusual, etc., only until they get into power and then can turn those freedoms for everyone into the privilege of the few, the group they just so happen to belong to. Or
he's right on the fucking money with this one. Right on the fucking money. These people have no beliefs. There's no principles with these people. Like, you can't have rapport with these charlatans. That's what they are. They are charlatans. You cannot have rapport with these people. They are to be actively shunned out of, like, I would say, broader sort of polite society. These people are demons. They're demons. I have no problem with calling them fucking demons. They don't believe in the First Amendment. They don't believe in freedom of speech. They are liars. They are charlatans. They will actively lie in order to be able to justify their positions. There is like no way for these people to be able to actively defend themselves under any fucking circumstance. They will still try anyways. It doesn't matter. Like, they're all liars, they're all charlatans, they're all freaks. It doesn't matter. Like, they are liars. They're liars. And you can't believe a single solitary word that ever comes out of the mouths of any of these people, because they will do anything possible to inherently justify their fucking beliefs and come up with excuses for the people that they simp for in fucking power. Like, you can't have rapport with these people. You simply cannot.
So they think. But they're not the elite. They just unwittingly support the elite. That's how idiots who support authoritarianism think. They always think that the policies they advocate that will harm others will never harm themselves. They see themselves as being part of the power group without ever realizing that they're really just part of the useful idiot group. And when authoritarianism comes, they too end up suffering the consequences. Everyone remembers, it never lasts. There's destruction and mayhem, and then everything resets until that period becomes history. And eventually, another generation will come along far enough removed from that history that they'll think all those failed ideas are actually good ideas. And then the cycle will repeat. They'll think of themselves as victims whose birthright is being stolen from them by foreign savages, and that their religion is under attack, and that a disease of immorality and criminality is spreading, even if it's the perfect opposite. The rhetoric is always the same, always so predictable, always appealing to the least intelligent and most fearful among us, the reactionaries. It's like those people who say, we fought for the wrong side during World War II because Europe is being invaded and destroyed by foreigners now. But
Very
look
stupid.
at who actually invaded and literally destroyed Europe during World War II. It was the side they claim we should have fought for, the actual destructive force that didn't just move into the building next door. It turned the building next door into rubble. That's how dumb fascists are. They end up supporting the very thing that makes all their worst fears come true.
Yep.
But by calling fascists dumb and wrong, I have established myself as anti-fascist, which is what Antifa means, and the Trump regime has declared that idea a terrorist organization, which is probably the most fascist thing anyone could possibly do. I was on the road when Charlie Kirk was killed, and I learned about it by seeing the words R.I.P. Charlie Kirk splayed across an electronic billboard. And the next time I got off the road, I checked my phone and saw what happened. And I knew what was coming next, not because I'm particularly insightful, but because it's just so damn predictable. The people who really truly celebrated the death of Charlie Kirk were not extreme leftists. They were the people who shared his politics. And
yes. Oh my god. Yes. Holy shit. God, he's fucking spitting, dude. Yeah. Conservatives loved the, like, we're gonna talk about this eventually. But Charlie Kirk's widow, Erica Kirk, literally was not remorseful at all for the fact that her husband fucking died. Like, not even a bit whatsoever. Immediately, the day after Charlie Kirk died, you want to know what Erica Kirk was doing? She was actively fucking campaigning to fucking get more donations and more people joining TPUSA fucking chapters. That's what she was doing. She was playing politics. She wasn't actively fucking remorseful for the death of her husband. Absolutely not. This was a perfect fucking opportunity for these motherfuckers to wield this as another opportunity to go after their fucking political opponents. These people, I've said it before and I will keep consistently, and I mean consistently, saying it again and again and again and again. If there is any opportunity for these motherfuckers, for these people, these charlatans, to actively use this as an excuse to keep playing fucking politics, they'll do it. It doesn't matter. These people are charlatans. They are freaks. Nothing they say or do should be actively believed or like seen as honest. They are all liars. All of them are liars. So nothing that they say or do should be actively treated seriously or as gospel. Because they will want you to kneel at the altar of Charlie Kirk. Oh, they will. They will do everything possible to make you subjugate and sort of kneel before the altar, to pray before the great Messiah that is Charlie Kirk. Don't fucking fall for it. They love their fucking idol worship because that is what he is to them in their mind. He was a useful fucking tool for these fucking charlatans. And they will just keep doing it. It doesn't matter. They will do this with all of their fucking Messiah fucking figures. They'll do it to Trump when he's dead. They'll just do it to literally anybody. They are all liars. Liars, liars, liars. All of them. And they'll just keep doing it. It doesn't matter with these people. They don't actively believe in anything. So if they can just use this as an excuse to go after who they perceive as their political opponents, they'll do it. They'll do it gladly, without a question. And they will do it over and over and over again. That's why I've been consistent in this, in saying that these people are not to be treated under any circumstance seriously whatsoever. Whatsoever. You don't treat these charlatans seriously because they don't actively believe in any of the exact same values that your average fucking American believes in. They don't. They do not. So you should honestly treat them like the aberrances that they are, because they are an aberrance.
And knew that they'd be able to capitalize on what happened to him. Vultures.
Mm-hmm.
My belief is that behind closed doors, they were actually happy about it. Because it gave them what they...
Oh my god, he's fucking spitting here, dude. I also believe that as well. I think conservatives were also happy about the fact that Charlie Kirk was killed. 1,000%. 1,000%. I think they were all very, very happy about the fact that he was killed, because now he can be used as an excuse, right? As a fucking cudgel, right? Like 1,000%. They can use him in their idol worship. 1,000%. Again, these people are all charlatans. All of them.
They believed to be justification to escalate against their foes.
Mm-hmm.
Charlie Kirk's memorial service, for instance, was only actually respected by those who were closest to him, like his wife. But for everyone else, it was a shameless political rally circus, an opportunity for Trump to keep escalating, which is what he does best and what he has been doing for the last decade. As Charlie Kirk's wife talked about forgiveness, Trump talked about how he hates his enemies and wants them to suffer.
Mm-hmm.
They're like a bunch of cancer patients huffing asbestos to cure their cancer.
Mm-hmm.
But what about those who explicitly, openly celebrated Kirk's death? Personally, that's not something I would do. I don't celebrate anyone's death, and I don't even believe there should be a death penalty, which is reserved for the worst of criminals. So I certainly can't say that I'd support it for Kirk. That's a very different stance than Kirk's, who openly celebrated deaths and enthusiastically supported the death penalty. Yep. Kirk said that it would make his day better to see certain people publicly executed. Mm-hmm. Obviously, some people believed the same about him. My desire to not be among those people, however, doesn't make me better than those who celebrated Kirk's death. And you may be surprised to hear that I refuse to condemn them for celebrating.
Yep.
Because I am not in their shoes. Well, at least I wasn't at the time, but that has changed a bit with the recent national security presidential memorandum, hasn't it? Regardless, most of my demographics as a straight white family man, but with the exception of my atheism, were not under attack by Kirk. But there are many who were threatened by his politics, more than threatened, actually negatively affected. Mm-hmm. People like to pretend that it's just words, just differences in opinion. But when we're talking about politics, we're talking about policy, and policies affect people's lives.
Great fucking point that Dark Matter is bringing up here. Right on the fucking money. Because Charlie Kirk actively had not a choice, but he would actively push for policy and positions that would make people's lives worse. He had a part to play in the worsening of people's material fucking conditions. He did. He did. 1000%. Like, it doesn't matter. These people can't be fucking trusted or believed. He actively had a role to play in the worsening of people's material conditions on the ground. He did. That was all fucking Charlie Kirk. He did all of that. But, you know, do the conservatives care about any of that stuff? No.
What kind of opinion are we talking about? Opinions have consequences. A Jew not wanting to be killed by a Nazi, wanting to kill them, was a difference of opinion. That word, opinion, is often nothing more than a weasel word used to dismiss significant differences as innocuous. Such differences can be fatally serious. So often I hear, I get called a Nazi just for having a difference of opinion. Yeah? So what? What a dumb observation. What's the opinion? That's what matters. Be specific. So no, it's not just about having friendly debates in the marketplace of ideas. When you want to completely devastate people's lives, and you have influence and mingle with those who have the power and desire to impose your agenda. No, I'm not trying to justify his murder, but I don't want you to dismiss why it happened as just a mere difference of opinion without understanding the implications.
I'm so fucking glad that he's bringing this up. He's spitting here. This is exactly the fucking problem. Like, all of these, like, stupid, dumb fucking conservatives will be like, you're just okay with the murder of Charlie Kirk. You just wanted him to get fucking... No. That's a fucking... That's complete, utter fucking nonsense, dude. Like, no one is fucking saying that. Literally, nobody fucking said that. The people that had problems with Charlie Kirk, and the reason why there were some people celebrating the fact that he got fucking killed, was due to the fact that Charlie Kirk, quite literally, contributed to some of the fucking policy that made their fucking lives worse. There are people who are from TPUSA who actively gets representation within the Republican fucking party. It's a it is a avenue for recruitment for the fucking party, man. Like, that's the issue that people are having with the Republicans, dude. Like, that's why people do not like them very, very much. They actively, and I mean actively, do everything possible in order to cause, well, more fucking suffering and death for those that they perceive as their fucking political opponents. That is the main problem. Charlie Kirk directly contributed to such an environment. So it's one of those situations like, bro, like, spare me it, man. Like, he wants people to suffer and fucking die, dude. Like, fuck is wrong with you people? It's like how the VHP in India recruits on campuses. They've actively started riots at Indian unis against Muslims. 1000%. It's how it also worked in Nazi fucking Germany. No fucking difference. The historical parallels are all there. Recruiting young students who do not have any economic opportunities throughout their lives to join the fucking the Sturm brigades and shit like that, dude. Like, that's why people do not like the fact that Charlie Kirk had an adverse effect on a lot of their fucking politics within, like, states and stuff. I brought up this example before, but shoutouts to fucking Jason's Society. Jason's Society used to live in Arizona. That's the state that Charlie Kirk actively is from, right? And that he did a lot of, like, advocacy for. Literally, the school boards, because of Charlie Kirk nominated fucking candidates, made the situation on the ground in his fucking communities worse. Education was made worse because of Charlie Kirk. And do you think that Jason is going to show any fucking sympathy to fucking Charlie Kirk as a result? Of course not. Nor do I expect him to give Charlie Kirk any fucking sympathy whatsoever. He doesn't deserve to have that fucking sympathy under any fucking circumstance, because he directly contributed to the worsening of material conditions on the ground within that fucking state. So it's one of those things where it's like, fucking spare me, conservatives. Like, it makes perfect sense in my mind why a lot of people on the left celebrated his fucking goddamn murder and were gleeful about the fact. I'm not gonna say it's a good thing that they did that. I don't agree with that. Obviously, it's obviously tragic what happened to fucking Charlie Kirk. But the people fucking celebrating it, I'm not actively going to push back against them either. And I'm not going to really care much at all about that, because I understand where it's fucking coming from. To me, it makes sense where it is fucking coming from. So it's one of those things where it's just like I don't care about this, man. Like, I'm not surprised that people are actively celebrating this shit, dude. Like, that doesn't surprise me whatsoever. Like, of course, people actively faced consequences because of what Charlie Kirk advocated and pushed for. It's insane to me. I'm sad it happened, because it's just going to trigger more communal violence. You don't want that in society, but that doesn't mean I'm going to idolize him. Exactly, Boy Meets Minnie. Exactly.
Without understanding that all conflict, from world wars to barroom brawls, are the result of differences in opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you're walking on a path through the woods, and there's two very different flying insects. One of them stays off the path and in the woods. It minds its own business. The other one incessantly buzzes all around you. It lands on you, crawls on you, and even bites or stings you. Which of those two insects is more likely to be met with hostility?
The annoying
Which
one.
are you more likely to swat or crush? The one inserting itself into your life, obviously. That's why Kirk was targeted. He didn't want to leave people alone. He wanted to fuck with their lives in significant ways. See, a lot of right-wingers have very poor self-awareness. A lot of them think they are somehow like pure libertarians, which couldn't be further from the truth. Kirk wanted to outlaw transgenderism. He wanted what he called Nuremberg trials for doctors who practiced gender-affirming care. Kirk wanted a theocracy. He explicitly talked about wanting to mix religion and government, and how separation of church and state was a myth.
So I'm going to do some clarification here. Originally, Charlie Kirk was more of a free speech libertarian sort of guy. But you want to know what caused that change for Charlie Kirk? It was the Groypers. It was Nick Fuentes who fucking actively stoked that fucking change. Our favorite little fucking Nazi twink, Nick Fuentes, was actively what made Charlie Kirk more of a religious fanatic. Because he never really talked about religion all that much initially. He didn't, not really much in his fucking coverage about stuff like this. Charlie Kirk never really engaged in that all that much. What changed was the fact that TPUSA, because he was seen as more of a moderate back in the day, and this is a fact, what changed was him getting pushed further to the right, specifically by Nick Fuentes and the Groypers. That was what changed, in particular, right? So the fact that he was pushed further to the right by, well, the neo-Nazi little twink, freakazoid, gay boy cosmopolitan who wants more than anything to just be a cosmopolitan and actively fucking hates his little fucking group of freaks, the Groypers, quote unquote. And that is the main reasoning for as to why he became more of a Christian fundamentalist. Fundamentally speaking, he became more and more that simply just due to the fact that Fuentes and the Groypers decided to come in and be incredibly annoying and as disruptive as possible to TPUSA events. That was what changed for Kirk specifically.
Myth. His were the politics of discrimination. If you're a gay couple in a loving, committed marriage, he wanted to unmarry you. He wanted to take your kids from you. He wanted to deport people without due process. He supported Palestinian genocide and made fun of their deaths. Tens of thousands of children have died, and he made jokes and fully supported the ones doing the killing. He didn't even question it until he lost a major Jewish donor because he considered having Tucker Carlson on his show. It wasn't the mass murder that affected.
Oh my god, yeah, this is a great fucking... I never mentioned that as well, by the way. Yeah, he lost one of his major Jewish donors because he was thinking about going on to Tucker Carlson's show. And the reason why is because at this point in time, Tucker Carlson, what he's doing, which is also a grift, is he is seeing the fact that people do not like Israel and do not like what Israel is doing for Palestinians, on the Palestinians. Not because Tucker Carlson actually cares fundamentally about Palestinian emancipation. Quite the opposite, in fact. Listen, it's a bunch of dirty browns that are also getting fucking murdered. Tucker Carlson's one of his favorite things is to see dirty browns get fucking murdered. He loves seeing dirty browns get fucking murdered. In reality, for people like Tucker Carlson, it is a way for him to grift further and further to the right. He sees an opening, potentially, to grift to a further right-wing fucking audience that is actively looking for some form of fucking separation from the sort of Republican norm, and that is to be as supportive as possible of Israel's genocide within Palestine. That is what it is. Tucker Carlson wholeheartedly is a fucking anti-Semitic fucking grifter. He doesn't believe in any of this shit. For him, this is a wedge that he can use in order to justify, his own anti-Semitic fucking beliefs. And that's why that Jewish donor was sort of having an uncomfortability with Charlie Kirk wanting to openly pal around with Tucker Carlson, because for Tucker Carlson specifically, he is an actual anti-Semite, right? All these motherfuckers, like these stupid Zionist fucking dipshits, actually are anti-Semitic. They don't care about the Jewish people in reality. It's all a wedge specifically with them in order to to justify the colonial project that is currently going on within Israel. That's not hyperbolic or ridiculous under any fucking circumstance. It is all about the subjugation with these people. It is all about the maintenance of hierarchy control, which is generally sort of the general position that a lot of these motherfuckers have. Oh, I mean, honestly, Boy Meets Mini, I'm not surprised at all that he's recognizing this as a fucking genocide. Every fucking liberal, I think, has come around to the position of saying that it's a fucking genocide. I think all of them are now starting to recognize what it is, and that it is a genocide. The point of this is to have the subjugation, the murder of the Palestinian people. I think Jennifer Welch, Podjohns, I think, have also come to that fucking realization. Everyone is coming to the fucking realization that the actions that Benjamin Netanyahu is engaging in is fundamentally for the express purpose of the subjugation and murder of the fucking Palestinian people. Again, I mean, we've looked at the fucking polling on all of this. The current approval rating of Israel for its current actions that it is taking in Gaza is 8%? 8%. That is a disaster of a fucking percentage. 8% approval rating for what is currently happening. That's fucking insane to me. People are just generally sick and fucking tired of the actions of the state of Israel. Because it's just it's unjustified what they're doing. Wholeheartedly so. You can't... There is no rapport that you can build there. It's over for fucking Israel. They have lost this sort of broader normie demographic that they pretended to want to fucking appeal towards. Like, it's over for them. It is done. It's cooked. Wallahi, it is all fucking cooked for the Israelis. They broadly know it, which is why they try to ramp up the genocide as much as they can, and actively also try to do anything fucking possible in order to break the fucking ceasefire and continuing the murder of the fucking Palestinian people. Like, that's all that there is to it. And guess what? Both parties in power are actively okay with it.
Him, it was money. He was a racist who demonized black people. Charlie Kirk fucked with people's lives, and you simply cannot fuck with people's lives to that much of a degree without also making yourself a target. So, no, I'm not going to condone or celebrate his death, but I'm also not going to condemn those who do. Because if people openly and effectively advocated for policies that endangered your family, could you be so sure that you wouldn't at least be relieved if such people met a premature end? Now, perhaps you would not commit or promote the violence yourself, but there's no law against feeling relief when a threatening, harmful force against you is stopped. Now, of course, it would probably be more realistic for you to feel worried than relieved, because the response to his murder will likely irrationally target you.
Yep.
I realize it's a strange request for empathy, because I can certainly empathize with Charlie Kirk's close friends and family. Their grief must be devastating, and I think we should empathize with them, even though Kirk literally said he was against the very concept of empathy. What a terrible person he was, truly. And dying in a tragic way did not somehow magically make him a good person.
Nope.
But
did not.
I would like to take it a step further and challenge you to empathize with those who celebrated and not think of them as monsters for doing so.
Sorry about that there, Dark Matter. You're talking about fucking conservatives who have to inherently believe in the fucking death of subjectivity. They have to believe in the death of subjectivity. I've talked about this philosophical concept before, but to be a conservative in this current time frame right now, you actively have to believe in the fact that you see your opponents as an other and that they are not fundamentally fucking human. You have to not be able to fit in their shoes. You cannot do that, which is why they will basically be actively okay. And with talking about their inner desire to want to basically murder anyone who they perceive to be their fucking political opponents, right? Like, we've talked about this fucking broader philosophical concept that I talk about, the death of subjectivity. These people cannot inherently believe in the ability for people to be able to exist as a human being, because they have to actively, and I mean actively, fucking go after and shun, I guess, those that they perceive to be their fucking political enemies. Like, when I say that conservatives are demons, this is what I mean. They are fucking demons.
Which even crossed my mind once or twice until I thought about it more deeply. Because celebrating death is kind of a disconcerting and scary thing to see. At least it is for me. So, I'm not asking you to celebrate. I didn't. I wouldn't. But I am asking you to try to comprehend their fear and understand that their celebrations stemmed from their fear.
From
and
somewhere.
A very slight relief of that fear, because a very successful and effective soldier for the cruel causes against their...
And here's the thing, and this is also a concept that the I've Had It podcast girls also come up with, because they are not come up with, but also say they live in Oklahoma. It is as red as it gets. Very, very red. For a lot of queer people that still live in red states, because queer people, guess what, still live in red states, they understand what it means to be a blue dot in a red state. Their families target them, their peers will target them, and now, at the very least, at least the federal government will not target and go after me. Thank fucking God. Holy fucking shit. However, Now with the federal government being in the way that it is, they are now feeling more fear than ever. So it's one of those things where, yes, the people who were mainly celebrating were a lot of women, a lot of queer people. Why? Because those, and also racialized minorities as well. A lot of black people. I forgot about them. Because they were ones who were getting targeted by Charlie Kirk's positions and his fucking policies. So it's one of those situations where I am not at all surprised about the fact that these people were celebratory about the fact that Charlie Kirk got nipped in the neck. Doesn't surprise me whatsoever. At all. I'm not surprised by that. In fact, it makes sense to me. Because they were people who actively have to suffer the consequences of his beliefs and his desired system of governance. They have to deal with the fucking consequences. And so, as a result, them seeing basically one of their biggest ops to their existence getting murked in the fucking neck was a cause of celebration for them. And I am not surprised. And I will not actively talk about how that is incredibly problematic or bad. I'm not going to actively shun them from spaces because of that. Because I understand and I am capable of empathy. Death of subjectivity. Never fucking forget that. These people are wholeheartedly incapable of being able to act or understand what it is like to exist in these people's shoes. Because they don't, in reality, they don't give a shit about them. It's all about, like I've said before, maintenance of hierarchy and control with conservatives. That's what it's all about with them.
Very lives was taken out of the equation. And remember that by successful and effective, I don't mean right. He was a grifter and a liar. And such people can be very convincing to the naive. I watched some people that I like, openly condemn those who celebrated. They showed disgust toward them. That's easy to do. I'm asking you to comprehend. I'm asking you for a deeper understanding. Having said all that, I realize I just placed a target on myself. Anything less than exuberant condemnation will be seen as enthusiastic support. That's how black and white everything is nowadays.
Yep.
Anyone who refused to comply with the revisionism currently being forged around Kirk's despicable life is being targeted for, at the very least, cancellation. Because, like I said, these people have no principles. They're against cancellation when it happens to them, and for it when it happens to their enemies. With the justification that it's a tool of their enemy so they can use it against us. And like I said, I'm lumped in as the enemy even though I never canceled anybody, and even though I had nothing to do with Kirk's murder. I'm simply someone who refuses to comply with them or go along with their bullshit narrative, so I am considered an enemy, especially so since I have a platform that's a little bit bigger than what most people have access to, and I use it to express my disagreement with them. That makes me a target. And people have recently been canceled for saying significantly less about Kirk than I just did. But
yeah, we don't have to mention about all of the differing, like, God, there was teachers, there was a bunch of different, like, queer people, whole bunch of, like, differing people who were talking about this on fucking TikTok and actively fucking celebrating this. Like, literally, the government of Texas tried to arrest a black woman, a university student, who went to a university in Texas. I don't remember which university, but it was a university in Texas where she got arrested for the fact that she was being celebratory of the murder of Charlie Kirk. Insanity. And these people want me to believe that they are the ones who are anti-fucking cancel culture? No. There is no fucking principles or beliefs with any of these people. They've never cared about fucking free speech. And we all know this. They're all charlatans. They are freaks. They are liars. Nothing that comes out of the mouth of a conservative should ever, and I mean ever, be believed.
I refuse to give in to their revisionism, and so should you. It's all fake outrage anyway. They don't actually care about what you say. They just want to
1000%.
use it as a weapon to get rid of you. But they do
1000%.
care more about Kirk's shooting than all the other many recent shootings, even ones that happened that same day, and certainly more than...
I love the fact that he brought this up. There was a neo-Nazi, a 16-year-old neo-Nazi who conducted a fucking shooting. A shooting at a fucking high school. And this guy, when they dug through his social media profiles, loved posting neo-Nazi edits and Hitler speeches and shit like that. He was a fucking Nazi. Was there any peep from the conservatives talking about the Nazi, the 16-year-old who decided to do a fucking shooting at his school? No, they'd rather much focus on the transgender individual who detransitioned, from what I understand, Robin Westman, who I don't even know if they went by I don't know what their initial name was. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean. Who supposedly detransitioned and would prefer to hyperfixate on that instead because it serves their culture war narrative. These people have zero principles and beliefs. They don't believe in anything. And everything that they say should actively be shunned. Be shunned! Like, no one should fucking believe in any of this fucking bullshit that comes out of the mouth of the fucking conservatives. And we all know why this is the fucking case, because the permission structure has been there for years, decades at this point. This is a decades project and decades of work that have culminated into this inevitable sort of like snowball, this rolling out of control by conservatives in terms of the rhetoric, all the policies that have led to this position. We're talking about, like, suburbanization, death of subjectivity, the death of critical thinking in education. These are all broader topics that I have talked about consistently on this fucking platform. This stuff did not come out of nowhere. It came from a certain fucking place. And that being conservatives. Conservatives are the ones who have essentially built this sort of platform, these policy positions of subjugation and destruction of the welfare state, and people being more and more desperate than ever to be able to provide for their fucking families, with the help of the fucking Democrats, who also permitted the fucking structures. Fundamentally speaking, there is one reason why it inevitably all got to this position. It comes down to one thing and one thing only. It's all about the fucking money, stupid. That's why we inevitably got to this fucking position. Because the rhetoric, the policies, they had to keep going further and further and further and become more ridiculous and extreme. More and more and more. And for what purpose exactly? Oh, just for the justification of wanting to build their stupid capitalist, like, ethno-state. White ethno-state, to be more specific. Because that's what these people want ultimately in the end. They just want to subjugate those that they deem as irredeemable. Like, just either by killing them, getting rid of them, forcing them to be back in the closet, or deporting them all out of the country. And that has always been the main point from fucking conservatives. None of these people, and I mean none of them, should be actively fucking believed. Like, under every fucking circumstance. These people are complete, utter fucking charlatans.
Than the dozens of political murders committed by extreme right-wingers over the last decade, which have all been basically memory hold. Kirk's life will be reduced to a talking point, and his name will be used as a cudgel. A man named Joshua Cole from Texas was arrested after allegedly threatening to shoot up an upcoming pride parade. He said that we should pay them back for taking out Charlie Kirk. That's the kind of person I've been talking about. It's gang mentality. A lone shooter shot Charlie Kirk. At least that's the current story. The people at some random pride parade in Texas had nothing to do with it. But that doesn't matter to the stupid and angry who only understand tit for tat, whether you're guilty or not. And that's the same mentality we're seeing right now in President Trump in his efforts to label you a terrorist simply because you may have criticized religion, America, or most importantly, him. Stupid and angry, from the top of the leadership right on down to the gangland foot soldiers who cannot distinguish one person from another. But
I'm really glad that he's bringing this up, by the way, because this is the exact same thing. The only contention that I would slightly have here is the fact that this has kind of just been inevitable. The rhetoric and the policy positions and the beliefs of conservatives were inevitably going to lead to something like this happening. Always. This was always going to happen at some point or another, where there was going to be some high-profile assassination that would be successful on whoever, whether it be a conservative or a liberal or anyone. I mean, there was already a pretty high-profile one that happened before Charlie Kirk, and it's all because of one simple reason and one simple reason only. All about the economic positions that inevitably have led up to this, where eventually people are going to be so desperate to have some form of change that they are going to take something into their own hands. And that's what's going to keep happening more and more and more and more until material conditions on the ground get addressed and the billionaires and the rich finally get taxed at the very fucking minimum. Because otherwise it's only going to get worse and worse and worse and worse consistently. So I'm really, really glad that he's also bringing up the fact that this has been a structure that has been leading up to this coming from on high. Because he's correct when he says that. But Trump didn't come out of nowhere. This has been a project of the Republican Party ever since Ronald Reagan, where the extremism of the right was always building up more and more and more towards authoritarianism and fascism ever since the fucking AIDS crisis and how gay people were treated then. Honestly, ever since fucking McCarthyism. We can even go further back than that. The permission structure was being established since back then. And it's gotten to this point where there are now high-profile fucking shootings like it's the fucking 60s all over again. And it's because of what I just mentioned. Material conditions for the working and the middle class, I'm mostly just going to say working people here, have not been addressed since the fucking 70s. We've talked about it before. I'll bring it up again. My favorite fucking goddamn graph. The wage productivity gap. Gap graph. You know what I mean. Shut up. I wonder why people are becoming such fucking extremists. This is why. No one can fucking pay for anything. It's impossible to live anywhere within the United States of America. And even if you are able to you fucking afford rent, good luck being able to afford food, utilities, internet, your car, your insurance, gas, in order to be able to work at that fucking minimum wage job that you have to slave away at and still be under the fucking poverty line and barely able to afford most of your fucking bills. Like, millions upon millions of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. And if this is why. Wages fucking stagnating for decades. And all the economists have done the math and everything. The only thing that's going to work is if the minimum wage was raised to like, it would have to be about $30 a fucking hour at this point in order to be able to just keep up with inflation. And it's $7.25 still. 4 times the amount, like less than the amount for people to be able to just fucking survive. Genuinely fucking insane, dude. And it's crazy. Like, what else are you supposed to say about this? Of course, more and more fucking extremists and extreme shit is going to fucking happen more and more and more and more because of stuff like this. Stuff like this. People can't fucking afford anything. And Charlie Kirk was totally okay with those fucking positions. Had no fucking problems with that whatsoever. He defended those people because he himself was also a millionaire that was paid by a bunch of fucking billionaires. Quick reminder as to how Charlie Kirk even got his start. He was 18 years old, went to college, got some talking with some billionaire, some fracking billionaire to be specific, dropped out of college and started TPUSA. He was always fucking bought and paid for by the fucking billionaire fucking class. From the beginning. So it's one of those things where I'm not surprised at all that people are hurting, and we have gotten to the position where there are more and more high-profile fucking assassination hits that are happening consistently. This is not an aberrance. This is the new norm. Because stuff like this was always going to fucking happen. Because the material conditions on the ground have not been addressed for decades at this point.
Who only sees rival gangs, a collective political enemy, all guilty of killing Charlie Kirk.
Mm-hmm.
We are still in year 1, folks. Yep. I don't know if we can make it for another 3. I'm sorry, I don't have anything more.
And here's the thing. He's almost effectively a lame duck, dude. Like, because of this like shutdown that's like still going on and everything, none of the stuff that he's pushing for is really going to have much approval. I wouldn't be surprised if the only thing that happens besides executive action, but that's a different story, I wouldn't be surprised at all whatsoever if anything else he tries to do in terms of a big bill or whatever, it's not going to pass. It's not going to happen whatsoever. Because, like, what other policy do the Republicans have besides doing fucking tax cuts, forehead? Nothing. Their whole shtick is just tax cuts for the rich. They got nothing else to work with besides that. So it's one of those situations where it's like, they're not going to do anything besides that. That's about it.
More encouraging for you right now. I really would like to make some more animations soon, and I plan to. But I think this is really important to talk about. Not just in comedic ways, which is important too, but also in a serious manner, and keep talking about. We cannot allow this fascistic regime to silence us. It'll only get worse if we do.
True.
I hope that this video finds you well, and that you will continue to be well in the tumultuous years to come.
Couldn't have really said it any better myself. Great video there by Dark Matter, essentially just talking about the sort of positions there that led us up to where we have gone. You know, I've had stuff like some slight criticisms because this has been a sort of thing that has been culminated to throughout decades. Donald Trump is just, I think, is the final conclusion. This is the conclusion. This is where it got to. This was an inevitability. Inevitable that this was going to happen. So, man, I don't think there's like really much else to say besides a good video. He is pretty. I think it's a very, very good tell to basically see where liberals are at in terms of fascism. And if the Democrats do not want to listen to their constituents, they too will also be left out of the dust. Just like I've had it have said. That being, of course, Jennifer Welch and Angie Sullivan have said that the Democrats are just MAGA light. They're just conservatives, and that's true. And they're not willing to recognize that the only way forward that exists now is to go further left. That's it. That's all that's left. Nothing else is going to be satisfactory enough for the broader sort of electorate within the Democratic Party. Neoliberalism is dead. It's over. No fucking Abunda shit is going to recover that position. Not fucking happening. As much as Ezra Klein would like to pretend that it would. It's not going to do shit. So, the only way forward for the Democrats, for the country, for the United States of America, for something like a Trump to not happen again, is for the further pushing towards the left. That's it. It's the only thing that is going to function. So it's one of those fucking cases where it's unironically it's socialism or fucking barbarism. I think we've gotten to that fucking point where the only way forward is socialism if you do not want barbarism, because what the Trump administration, what the Republicans are offering is barbarism. It's abhorrence. It's subjugation of religious minorities, racial minorities, and queer minorities. And people that you see as your fellow man, woman, or MB, or person in general. And this is only going to continue and get worse until the pogroms start. And that's when, well, it's already going to be over. It's going to be significantly worse. Unless material conditions on the ground actually get addressed. And that they get addressed, fundamentally speaking. But I do not see, with the current format of the Democratic Party, able to fucking address that. Because eventually, like, Trump's going to die. Someone's going to replace Trump. Who that might be, I don't know. Like, pick a name out of a fucking hat. They'll come up with something in order to replace him. And, because it's not going to be J.D. Vance. I know that for certain. It's not going to be him. No, it's not going to be J.D. He's too whiny, too much of a fucking weirdo loser, Peter Thiel sort of acolyte lizard wizard person. Like, it's not going to be him. Absolutely not. So it's going to be one of those cases where it's just like, at this point, it's going to be like, what's going to happen? Well, unless it's the fucking material conditions actually do get addressed on the ground, it's only going to get worse and worse from here. Charlie Kirk, that's going to become more commonplace. More and more people are going to be put in danger. The violence is going to get worse. Everything is going to get worse unless the materials and everything gets addressed on the ground. I'm repeating myself constantly here. But yeah, overall, it was a good video. Good sense of having an idea, a sort of framing for as to where the mind of the liberals are at right now. And I thought I was not going to initially agree 1,000% with the premise. I overall come away with it with overall agreement to this, that it's not because like this, it is the only disagreement I would have is that this is just the fundamental root of the Republican Party, and that this was always going to inevitably happen in the sort of hyper commodified capitalist sort of position that we find ourselves in. And this is the culmination of about 40 years of fucking neoliberalism. This was always going to fucking happen. So unless change happens, it's going to probably further collapse and further deteriorate until you have some authoritarian rump shithole state take over the United States of America. So anywho, I don't think there's really much else to say besides it was a good video overall by Dark Matter. Some slight disagreements that I have with him in terms of the root basis, because this was always going to be the Republican Party. Trump is not the aberrance here. He is the conclusion. So yeah, don't think there's really much else to say besides, well, stuff's going to get worse, folks. It's only going to get worse, especially when he becomes a fucking lame duck. And he's going to start to lash out way, way more.